that is the proposal, lesson number 11, written by Anton Chekhov. Now before we read, as a tradition that we do, we're just going to read what exactly the chapter tells about. The proposal is actually, the man is going to propose a girl, okay? But then how he does, it is very funny way. It is actually all about a Russian wedding, okay? So now, do you know anything about a Russian marriage ceremony? Read this article about a Russian wedding. Preparations for a Russian wedding. A Russian wedding is very simple. The planning only includes arranging for rings, brides, dress, cars and a reception. Earlier the bride's family paid for the reception, but nowadays brides and grooms' families usually share the expenses. So it is exactly the same way that in India, like how we follow. In the ancient times, only the females family used to spend on the wedding, but nowadays it's like a share expenditure. A Russian wedding lasts for 2 days, some wedding lasts for as long as a week, and the occasion becomes something to remember for years. The necessary part of the wedding ceremony is a wedding procession of several cars. The best friends of the groom or the bride meet before the wedding a few times, make posters, write speeches and organize contests. So it's like more of an English wedding, okay? When the groom arrives to fetch the bride for the registration, he has to fight to get her. And Russians usually live in apartments in tall buildings, and the groom has to climb several stairs to reach his bride. So this is just like the tradition and the customs that we actually get accustomed to, how a Russian wedding is all about. But at each landing, he must answer a question to be allowed to go up. So it is actually a tradition that when the groom has to climb the stairs to reach to the building of the bride. So what he has to do, he has to actually answer the questions after he climbs each and every stairs. Okay. So they're like riddles, they're like questions, something of that sort. And the groom must answer with the help of his friends. For example, he may be shown a few photos of a baby girl and he must say which one he is his bride. If he guesses wrong, he must pay cash to move ahead. After the marriage registration, the newly married couple leaves the guest for a tour of the city sights, and after 2 or 3 hours of the city tour, the couple arrives at the reception. The couple sits at a specially arranged table with their family, friends and invited guests. The reception starts with the toast to the couple. Toast is actually when you raise a toast, when you're actually drinking all together, so everybody raise a toast, so exactly the same. A wedding toast is a custom where a close friend or relative of the groom or the bride says a few words to wish the couple. Then everyone raises their glass of wine and drink it up at the same moment. So it is actually raising a toast. The groom is then asked to kiss the bride. After a few toasts, people start eating and drinking and generally have fun. After some time, the bride gets stolen. She disappears, and when the groom starts looking for her, he is asked to pay a fee. Usually, it is his friends who steal the bride. Then there are the bride's friends. They steal the bride's shoe. The groom must pay money for the shoe too. The guest also enjoys watching these tussles and continue partying. So it is somehow, relatively close to what an Indian wedding is, but in a English style. Okay. So now we're going to start reading about the proposal. It is about the marriage proposal. So now the proposal, originally titled as a marriage proposal, is a one-act play of a farce by Russian short story writer and dramatist Anton Chekhov. It was written in 1888-89. The play is about the tendency of a wealthy families to seek ties with other wealthy families to increase their estates by encouraging marriages that made good economic sense. So now Ivan Lomov, a long-time wealthy neighbor of Stephen Chubukov, also wealthy, comes to seek the hand of Chubukov's 25-year-old daughter Natalia. All three are quarrelsome people and they quarrel over petty issues. The proposal is in danger of being forgotten amidst all this quarreling, but economic good sense ensures that the proposal is made after all, although the quarreling perhaps continues. So now the three characters of the story, which is the Natalia, the Chubukov and Lomov. So all three are like very, they are very quarrelsome. They even fight for small little things. But then, as the Russian weddings are, famous for, they are famous for making a good economic sense, which means like आपको कुछ एक अच्छा wealthy proposal जब तक नहीं मिलेगा, आप उस चीज को आगे continue नहीं करोगे. So now this is about a wealthy proposal so that they could actually raise their economic status pretty much higher. Okay. So now we're going to read about the characters. That is Stephen Stepanovich Chubukov, which is the landowner. Natalia Stepanova, which is the daughter, 25 years old. And Ivan Lomov, he is the neighbor of Chubukov, a large and hearty but very suspicious landowner. So now we're going to start reading about the chapter. A drawing room in Chubukov's house. Lomovs enter. Wearing a dress jacket and white gloves, Chubukov rises to meet him. So now Chubukov, my dear fellow, whom do I see? Ivan Vasilovich, I am extremely glad. Squeezes his hand. Now this is a surprise, my darling. How are you? Lomov, thank you. And how may you be getting now? Chubukov, we just get along somehow, my angel, thanks to your prayers and so on. Sit down, please do. Now you know, you should forget all about your neighbors, my darling, my dear fellow. Why are you so formal in your get-up? Evening dress, gloves, and so on. Can you be going anywhere, my treasure? So now it's a conversation between Chubukov and Lomov, as you know. Lomov has actually entered Chubukov's house, and now they are actually exchanging the pleasantries. Okay, so now Chubukov is asking Lomov that how come you're dressed so nicely today? Are you really going somewhere out today? Lomov, no, I have come only to see you, honored Stephen Stepanovich. Chubukov, then why are you in evening dress, my precious, as if you're paying a New Year's Eve visit? Lomov, well, you see, it is like this. Takes his arm. I have come to you, honored Stephen Stepanovich, to trouble you with a request. Not once or twice have I already had the privilege of applying to you for help, and you have always, so to speak, I must ask your pardon. I'm getting excited. I should drink some water, honored Stephen Stepanovich, and he drinks. Chubukov, he's sitting aside. He's come to borrow money. Shan't give him any. Aloud, what is it, my beauty? Lomov, you see, honored Stepanovich, I beg pardon, Stephen, honor it. I mean, I'm awfully excited, as you will please notice. In short, you alone can help me, though I don't deserve it, of course. You haven't any right to count on your assistance. Chubukov, oh, don't go around and round it, darling. Spit it out well. Lomov, one moment, this very minute. The fact is, I have come to ask the hand of your daughter, Natalia Stepanova, in marriage. So now, after, exchanging a few pleasantries, after discussing a few conversation, because, Chubukov was asking, and he was like into a very skeptical kind of a situation, because he was really into a dilemma that why this gentleman is actually in a evening dress, why has he dressed so nicely and he has come to my house. So he's like going around and around and asking so many questions, and then he's just willing to tell him, but then somehow he reveals that he has actually come to ask the hand of his daughter, that is Natalia Stepanova, for the marriage. Chubukov, joyfully, by Jove, Ivan Vasilovich, say it again, I didn't hear it at all. Lomov, I have the honor to ask. Chubukov, interrupting, my dear fellow, I'm so glad, and so on. You indeed, and all that sort of thing. Embraces and kisses Lomov. I've been hoping for it for a long time. It's been my continual desire. Shed a tear, and I've always loved you, my angel, as if you were my own son. May God give you both his help and his love, and so on, and so much hope. What am I behaving in this idiotic way for? I'm off my balance with joy. Absolutely off my balance. Oh, with all my soul, I'll go and call Natasha and all that. Lomov, greatly moved, honored Stephen Stepanovich, do you think I may count on her consent? Chubukov, why, of course, my darling, and as if she won't consent. She's in love. Again, she's like a lovesick cat, and so on. Shan't be long. Exit. Lomov, it's cold. I'm trembling all over, just as if I had got an examination before me. The great thing is, I must have my mind made up. If I give myself time to think, to hesitate, to talk a lot, to look for an idol or for real love, then I'll never get married. But it's cold, Natalia. So now, he's again he's into a dilemma, because he's not too sure, because the father has said yes, but he wasn't sure about Natalia. So he's actually asking that, what your consent intent is that you're saying that I am actually getting married to this girl, but do you think even Natalia would actually agree and he'll actually get married to me? So, he's into a dilemma. Natalia Stepanova is an excellent housekeeper, not bad looking, well educated. What more do I want? But I am getting a noise in my ears from excitement. He drinks and it's impossible for me not to marry. In the first place, I'm already 35, a critical age, so to speak. In the second place, I ought to lead a quiet and regular life. I suffer from palpitations. I'm excitable and always getting awfully upset. At this very moment, my lips are trembling and there's a twitch in my right eyebrow. But the very worst of all is the way I sleep. I no sooner get into bed and begin to off now, when suddenly something in my left side gives a pull and I can feel it in my shoulder and head. I jump like a lunatic, walk about a bit and lie down. But as soon as I begin to get off to sleep, there's another pull, and this may happen 20 times. He's just showing his excitement in this particular paragraph when he's saying that I'm actually getting palpitations, I'm actually getting very nervous because I want to hear the same thing from Natalia, that even she is ready to get married to me and she's into the same excitement because, I knew that yes, definitely, that she's a very educated girl and she's like a good housekeeper, and what else do I expect? Natalia, well there, it's you. And Papa said, go, there's a merchant come for his goods. How do you do, Ivan Vasilevich? Lemov, how do you do, Honored Natalia Stepanova? Natalia, you must excuse my apron and negligee. We are shelling peas for drawing. Why haven't you been here for such a long time? Sit down. They seat themselves. Won't you have some lunch? Lemov, no thank you. I've already had, I have had some already. Natalia, then smoke. Here are some matches. The weather is splendid now, but yesterday it was so wet that the workmen didn't do anything all day. How much have you stacked? Just think, I felt greedy and had a whole wheel cut. And now I am not at all pleased about it because I am afraid my hay may rot. I ought to have waited a bit, but what's this? Why you are in evening dress? Well, I never are you. Are you going to a ball or what? Though I must say you look better. Tell me, why are you got up like that? Lemov, excited. You see, Honored Natalia Stepanova, the fact is I've made up my mind to ask you to hear me out. Of course, you'll be surprised and perhaps even angry. But it's awfully cold. What's the matter? Well, I shall try to brief. You must know, Honored Natalia Stepanova, that I have long since my childhood, in fact, had the privilege of knowing your family. My late aunt and her husband, from whom, as you know, I inherited my land, always had the greatest respect for your father and your late mother. The Lemovs and Chubukovs have always had the most friendly and I might almost say the most affectionate regard for each other, and as you know, my land is near neighbor of yours. You will remember that my oxen meadows touch your birchwoods. So now he actually starts talking to Natalia, and Natalia is also a little skeptical that why is he into his evening dress, that is he actually going for a ball or a party? Ball is actually a party, okay? So she tries to ask things about the field, about the hay, about the fields and everything. So after exchanging a few pleasantries again, now she's again questioning that why are you into your evening dress? So he tries to answer the question and he says that it is just because then he tries with the ancestors and he says that our families have been known very well to each other and definitely we all share a very friendly bond. Excuse my interrupting you. You say my oxen meadows, but are they yours? Yes, mine. What are you talking about? Oxen meadows are ours, not yours. No, mine, Honored Natalia Stepanova. Well, I never knew that before. How do you make that out? How? I'm speaking of those at Oxen Meadows, which are wedged in between your birchwoods and the burnt mash. Yes, they are ours. No, you're mistaken, Honored Natalia Stepanova, they are mine. Just think, Ivan Vasilevich, how long have they been yours? How long? As long as I can remember. Really, you won't get me to believe that, but you can see from the documents, Honored Natalia Stepanova, Oxen Meadows, it's true, were once the subject of dispute, but now everybody knows that they are mine. There's nothing to argue about. You see, my aunt's grandmother gave the free use of these meadows in perpetuity to the peasants of your father's grandfather. in return for which they were to make bricks for her. The pieces belonging to your father's grandfather had the free use of the meadows for 40 years and had got into the habit of regarding them as their own. When it happened that, no, it isn't like that at all. Both grandfather and great-grandfather reckoned that their land extended to Burnt Marsh, which means that Oxon Meadows were ours, and I don't see what there is to argue about. So now, instead of talking about the marriage proposal, they started conversing about the meadows, the Oxon Meadows, you know, because Lamour was talking about that these Oxon Meadows were actually theirs and they were given to him like by their great-grandfathers for the use, and by mistake, because after using them for good 40 years, they started thinking that they are theirs. So now it's a kind of a heated conversation between both of them, and they both are demanding that the Oxon Meadows are their own. So in this video, we're going to do it till here, and the rest we're going to cover in the next video. Thank you.